everybody. Welcome to the Female Film Critics panel. And this is very exciting. This is our, I think, 71st episode of panel, which is crazy that we've been
Wow.
doing this that long. It's awesome. I love it so much. And today we are talking about the streaming and TV series that we've watched so far in 2025. Some highlights, maybe some lowlights, everything in between. And I'm film critic Rachel Wagner, and Sari Cohen is here.
Hey, happy to be back.
Yes, yeah. So 2025, you've been keeping yourself very, very busy.
Oh, so busy and covering
Yeah.
a lot of TV. So
Yes.
that's all I do right now is just
Yeah, I'm like, wow, it's like she's on a red carpet every day. It's amazing.
and junkets, and that's not even like the half
Yeah.
of it. It's the junkets, and yeah, it's been wild and good.
Yeah.
I'm loving what's out there right now, so it's
Well,
good.
yeah, what do you think 2025 so far, movies, television? What do you think? How's it been?
Um, I particularly think it's a great year for TV. I think there's a lot of, you have the standing favorites like Hacks and White Lotus. Happy to see
Uh-huh.
Black Mirror back. That's been a big favorite. And then
Uh-huh.
new shows like The Pit. I mean, maybe new to some generations, but also
Uh-huh.
a little bit familiar to what we had with ER. But in that same vein, some really good TV is
Yeah.
happening. Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to hear because I have not watched any of those shows that you mentioned. I did. I take it back. I did watch Hacks first season, but I
Yeah.
haven't watched it since. So I, so I'm excited to hear what you think about them. I do have a few shows that I have watched. Some I've caught up to that actually aired last year, and there were some new ones, but not that many, and I'm so behind on so many. I haven't watched an episode of The Studio, which I've heard is amazing. So I'm excited to hear what you think about what you have seen and what you watched. The big one that I finally caught up with is I finally finished Arcane season two, and of course I've been waiting for this for 3 years. We'd all been waiting, and but then it releases in December, which is like impossible. There's absolutely no way that I could watch the season in December. I finally caught up to it. And I think it's one of those situations where it was never going to meet the expectations of 3 years of waiting for after how brilliant season one had been. That was never going to happen. And I do think that it goes on some tangents. It has some weird plot elements that weren't that compelling. It's definitely flawed, and people that were upset, I can understand. But I still thought the core relationship between the women was like strong enough, and the animation was so beautiful. And overall, I still did appreciate it. But it wasn't on the level of season one.
So I have not seen that show,
Yeah.
but
It's season one is basically perfect.
yeah,
It
that's
is
hard.
so
That's
good.
really, really hard. I was talking to, oh God, I want to say it was Eric LaSalle because they
Yeah.
just on call, which was unfortunately canceled. Um,
Oh yeah.
And yeah, and we got into the idea of like the sophomore slump and hopefully shows returning for a season two that can kind of like prove their worth. But I feel like when you have a show that's so good in season one, and maybe even like but yeah, it's hard. My fear is I don't know if you've seen Nobody Wants This with it, Adam Brody and Kristen
No, I've
Bell.
heard. I haven't caught up on it, but I need to.
So good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
such a phenomenal first season. And it's everybody loves that show. And they were quickly renewed for a season two. But there is that fear of like,
Yeah.
I don't know where the story's gonna go now. I mean, you love the characters. It's like it's
Yeah.
not the storyline that's driving it anymore. It's the characters. So you just kind of feel like I don't know. I don't know how that show's going to keep up. It was so phenomenal in season one. We'll see what
Yeah.
happens in season two.
Sometimes I feel like what did the writers really only have one season of or maybe two seasons of great ideas? because I feel like almost every show that's like a quality show is has like two really good seasons, and if you're lucky, four, and then you start to see a noticeable dive on almost every show.
Think about though how much competition is out there and
Yeah,
how likely it is to get canceled. You have so often now shows that get
yeah,
canceled and they hope that another streamer picks them up because
yeah,
they have, a really good season one that the
yeah,
fans just don't want it to die. But I imagine, I mean, it depends on the show. I know certain shows like From, which is a really good show. I'm like a big champion of MGM Plus. I think they have a lot of really good
oh,
shows on there. From is one of those that it's really cool where the creator has the entire storyline arced and
hmm,
the actors have no idea what's happening. I mean,
yeah,
they have no idea what's really happening in this world. So it's very cool. You hope that it goes
yeah.
all the way
Well, I
through.
wonder about that with The Way Home. Like, I wonder, we'll talk about season three, but like, I wonder how much the writers have planned or if they're constantly evolving, which both processes could have its appeal. Like, one of the problems with How I Met Your Mother is that the writers were still stuck in like season three, that when they had filmed that ending with the teens, then and they were like stuck on it, but then they allowed the characters to evolve and change so that when they still went with that ending that they had planned way back in season two and three, then it ticked everybody off because you didn't you evolved your characters, you evolved the audience, but you didn't evolve the ending, and so then it sucked and everybody was really ticked off. But then like also then you could have like the Rise of Skywalker problem, where if you're constantly rewriting and reinventing and redoing, and every director is changing what's happening, if you don't have that plan, then that can also be super problematic and tick everybody off. So
I am going to call this the supernatural effect. And I'm going to tell you a story about Supernatural.
yeah,
I loved that show. I think the first five seasons, Kripke developed the first five seasons of that show. And I think it was one of the most perfectly arced stories in like all of television that I've seen. I think it was really good for its time. It was a great story, very poetic. And it had five really strong seasons. What happened was the fandom became like out of this world and nobody wanted it to end. So it went on for like, I don't know, 30 seasons or something like
yeah,
a ridiculous amount of time. Everybody loved Sam and Dean and Castiel, and it just became like a part of woven into pop culture. But
uh-huh,
I will tell you, I loved that show so much. And the last like two seasons, I knew that it was coming to a close, and I had like slowly stopped watching. It was like kind of petered off for me, and towards the end, I completely stopped watching. So I never saw as big as a super fan as I was, and I used to write about it all the time. I've never to this day seen the ending of Supernatural. I couldn't bear it. It was too hard to say goodbye, and I still don't know what happened. I get one day I'll find
yeah.
out. One day I'll be brave enough to find out, but it's the supernatural effect.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing why I don't usually watch television. I watch movies is because like with television, almost all of them end up feeling kind of underwhelming. I mean, to me at least, like there's a very few that have managed to just stay consistent and stay good and be great and everything like that throughout the whole run. But so many of them end up being disappointing. I think like ones that to me were pretty consistent. Some of my favorites: Drop Dead Diva, The Nanny, Mary Tyler Moore Show. The Mary Tyler Moore Show was especially unique in the fact that it had so many changing cast members, but it still remained so funny and so well done. You could say a similar thing about ER, that it had such a rotating cast of characters that by the end, except for by the end it was really different than how it started, and that makes sense with a hospital, but they were able to keep it like pretty effective throughout all the seasons. Mary Tyler Moore Show, that Sue Ann Nivens, Betty White's character, didn't start until season 4, and she's so iconic in that show. And they had Cloris Leachman leave, I think, after 2 seasons as playing Phyllis, and she was absolutely hilarious in that show. Maybe 3, I'm not sure, I can't remember, but just a couple of seasons. And then she left. Eventually, even Rhoda leaves, which would be really hard for most shows to absorb. But they just managed to be really consistent and really funny throughout the whole run, which is like its most iconic episode of the Mary Tyler Moore Show, called Chuckles Bites the Dust. That was in season 7, the final season. So that's saying something, for a comedy to still be funny in season 7.
I felt that way about the Cheers finale. I think
Yeah, yeah,
the strongest finales, also, I'm going to say,
yeah,
in history. I think it was just,
yeah,
summarized the show so much. Some shows don't even get their steam until several seasons in, or at least that's how it used to be.
yeah.
And now these days, there was, um,
That's
gosh,
true. Like The Office to me, like season 1 is trying too hard to be the British Office, which is funny in its own way, but it's a lot more cynical than the US version turned to be. So season 2 is, in my opinion, season 2 of The Office, in my opinion, is a perfect season of television. I mean, every episode slams and is hilarious. And I think that show really was really great through 4 seasons. And then it started to be more hit and miss. There'd still be some good episodes. But yeah, it started to be more hit and miss. But but I mean, and then every once in a while you have a show like The Simpsons, which has been allowed to just like have multiple cycles. I mean, and of course that show is animated, so they can keep there's aside from the voice actors getting a little tired over the years, you can tell her voice. But that show can evolve. And so it's almost like, even though it's technically been the same show, there's almost been like 4 shows, different eras of The Simpsons.
wild to think about.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. The Simpsons started in 1989.
I
When,
remember on the
when,
Coleman show. Do you remember
yeah.
that?
Oh, yeah. When The Simpsons started, The Cosby Show was the #1 show on
Wow.
TV. How crazy is that?
Wow. That really puts things in perspective. I don't think people are running around saying cowabunga anymore. They're like, yeah, some of it's a little dated, but also
Yeah.
relevant.
Yeah. It's still a lot of the people who dog on The Simpsons, I haven't watched it in years.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually still pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
feel like South Park. South Park, out of all the animated shows,
Yeah.
South Park, I think Matt and Trey are just
Uh,
is, and they just are consistently funny and relevant and
yeah.
push the bar all the time. So
Are you a fan of Rachel's Reviews? Do you look forward to Family Movie Night, Female Film Critics panels, or the Talking Disney podcast? If so, please consider supporting the podcast by becoming a Patreon. As a patron, you get to access monthly events such as the watch-alongs and Q&As, where you get to talk to stars and find out the behind the scenes of the movie making industry. And you can pick what I review for Family Movie Night or even become a guest on the podcast. Podcasts and YouTube channels are expensive, and I really, really could use your help. I would so appreciate it. You also get to be a member of the Facebook group where we talk about all the films that we're seeing, and we have so much fun. Go to patreon.com/hallmarkies and select one of the Rachel's fan tiers. That's patreon.com/hallmarkies.
Well, a show that I am a little bit concerned that we were talking about how like the kind of closing season's going to lose this momentum. I'm a little worried about Outlander. I just finished season 2. I mean, season 7, part 2. And it was good. And the acting is phenomenal. And the fact that none of them have ever been nominated for an Emmy is an absolute travesty and a joke. Like, really, it's absurd. at the very least, Catriona Balfe, that she has not been nominated is insane.
Mhm.
She's so good, and that show's been on for so long. It's absolutely absurd.
And not
But
a fan base that is,
yeah,
it's so hard
it's
not to fall in love with that show, even if you have
if
ideas.
that show was on if that show was on HBO and not on Stars, it for sure would be nominated, which is so ridiculous. That makes me so irritated.
It's very, yeah, interesting. Interesting. I know they've been, I mean, I've seen them in the Emmy run, I mean, at FYC events for years,
Yeah,
and it really is wild to me how they,
crazy. And I think it's only gotten 5 Emmy nominations, and I think most of those were for costumes, which okay, that makes sense. But that it that the acting is so good and they're so well made. So I absolutely love I really love everything they're doing. And there was a very emotional plot line in the 7 part 2 with Jane and what happens with that character. Um, but I haven't read the books, and so I don't know how much is in the books and versus not in the books. And I think there's still one more book and there's one more season. So this shouldn't be too hard for them. But uh it just feels like okay, they left it on a cliffhanger and I'm like, um the plot is I mean, and that's gonna happen with time travel, but the plot's getting a little much. What are they doing? The writers, I'm a little bit nervous. I'm like, oh no, this is gonna end on a this is gonna end on a bad note. I'm worried
have,
about
have
next
they,
season.
have they jumped the shark? Have,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I was looking online and I was like, a lot of people were like, what is that? What was that cliffhanger? That's so stupid. What I don't know. Little nervous, but still a very well made
The
show.
anthology series are the way to go, Rachel.
Yes, it's so true. It really is.
Yeah,
I don't I don't know. But yeah, I would give it like a 3 out of 5. I still overall enjoyed it and there were some emotional arcs and good acting and good production values, but the writing is making me a little worried.
that's hard. That's a
Yeah.
hard one because I have such love for it. But yeah, you're right. I mean,
Did you see the finale of this seven
oh,
part two?
I
Okay.
haven't gotten
I
that far.
won't spoil it for you.
But it's in saying that it kind of did lose its steam for me because I was like, I think when I first got into it, I was a couple years late. So
Yeah.
binge watching like the first couple of seasons, I had to go back.
Well, they make you wait so long.
That's part of the
It's
problem.
part of the problem. It's the same thing happening with Bridgerton. It's like,
I
oh my gosh, like how can it take you this long?
House of the Dragon, Rings of Power, like those really that are like very like high in production value. Um, I think that that can run into problems because you do have such a dedicated audience, but the gaps in between,
Yeah. Well, especially with Bridgerton, because they left us on such a sour note. Like, I really think it would be in their best interest to do some kind of special this year to just make people feel better, because I know a lot of people were very upset with what they did. I mean, it still baffles me. It boggles my mind how they could have possibly thought that was a good ending for Colin, and just what they did with that character. Ugh. So I would think it would be definitely in their best interest to do something this year.
we'll
Christmas
see.
special,
I, I
something.
I think that's a very good idea. I think that's
Yes.
a good idea. Give the fans
Yes.
a little something that they want. It would be cool the way we
Yeah.
consume content these days, like
Yeah.
even if it's a little short, even if
Yeah.
it's something just to like, yeah.
Well, what's another show that you've seen or seen the pilot for or been a part of
Oh
uh
gosh.
that you
Well,
want to talk about?
listen, I was just saying anthology. I'm
Uh,
with all the coverage that I'm doing, I've got a bunch on my list that are really good, but I will say I think Black Mirror is like on of course, the totally other end of the spectrum, but I think that is consistently one of the best shows on television. I
Yeah.
think Charlie Brooker is a genius. Um, the talent that lines up to do the show is outrageous. I just spoke to Paul Giamatti about he did an episode called Eulogy this season. They're
Yeah.
limited. You've only got like 6 episodes or something a season. And it takes so long in between. You're just like, oh my gosh, you want more. And I do think, this actually might be the best season of Black Mirror yet. I feel like everybody said that it's like everybody said that, oh, this is the best show on TV in every season. This is the best season. This is the best season. But I
Yeah.
just think it's becoming tighter. It's
Yeah.
becoming more.
Do you have an episode that you liked the most? The story, because they're each individual stories, right?
Yeah, that's
It's like Twilight Zone that way, right?
yes, it is. It is. But it's kind of like a near-fi because it involves not really the supernatural but tech. So it's just like every story, there's something that's like just a little bit into the future where you're
Yeah.
like, this isn't real, but it
Yeah.
could be. But if we were like, you could totally see it happening. Um, that's hard. Common People, with Chris O'Dowd and
Oh, I love him.
and Rashida Jones, that was really good. They actually did kind of like a sequel this season with what is it, the USS McAllister, I think that was called, the in
Oh,
one, which was different for Black Mirror. Um, but eulogy, and particularly because I got to speak with Paul about it, and to have like this was a passion project for him. Paul Giamatti, he could do anything he wants, any role he wants, and he's like, give me an episode of Black Mirror. Uh,
nice.
and he was just phenomenal. I mean, that's what I mean though about the show. I could go on talking about it
That's
forever.
cool.
It
That's
is
good.
one of those where it's like the storylines are so good and so interesting, but also the characters, everything,
Yeah.
there's a lesson in there. There's a lesson in everyone, and I like that.
Well, the best show that I have seen this year, because I don't want to be all negative, but the best show that I've seen this year, All Creatures Great and Small, season 5, absolutely wonderful. It aired in the UK last fall. It was on Masterpiece this winter, and it was absolutely wonderful. They were able to bring back Tristan, who was a beloved character, who the actor Kalmuras, he decided to leave the show, and but they were smart, unlike people in Downton Abbey. They were smart and didn't kill him off. They just had him go because it's during the war, so it's like natural for him to go to war. So they had him go, and now he's back, and so that was really great to have him back, and great storylines, great characters. It's such a wonderful show. It's so far it is not even close to let me down. I also think it's like super underrated, underappreciated. Like it should be getting all of the love that something like a Downton Abbey got. It's better than Downton Abbey. It's really good.
Wow. I know
Yeah.
you've been a champion of that show
Yes.
for a while. I know.
It's
Having
so good.
like this is the show. And it's interesting because the people, it's underrated, but it's very highly acclaimed.
Yeah. Like we had so I'm a member of PBS Utah here, and they had a screening of the first episode of last, not this season, season 4. And they had a screening at the movie theater, the Art House movie theater here. It was packed, packed full of fans. And I'm just like, this is so good. This show, the characters are so good, the stories are so good, the writing is so good. And we have recaps of every single episode on Hallmarkies podcast. And so you should should watch it. It's really good.
Love that.
I
No, you're
wish it was on one of the streamers. I think that hurts it because unlike Down Abbey, which did get on Netflix, and so that helped it kind of. I wish that it was on like Max or just somewhere. You could stream it on there on PBS, but I wish that it was also available just to kind of help with the popularity. I think it would build it a lot.
that and that whole thing.
Outlanders on Netflix, you know.
That's changed so much in the past 5 years. Is like you really need. I don't know that's where most of the success is on.
Yeah,
You have the chance to succeed. It's I feel like network, it got to a place on network. I mean, I don't know if you remember when we probably talked about this before, but the whole thing that had happened with Seinfeld back in the day was like that show would have been canceled. The ratings were terrible after
yeah,
the season.
yeah.
The show
That's
was
true. Or even The Office, if you want to do something more, closer,
set to be
you know.
canceled. And then it took a while to pick up, and then it
Big
became
Bang Theory, the same way. Big
huge.
Bang Theory, I mean, it was pretty much, I think it was scheduled after How I Met Your Mother. And so it got that bump because that used to be a thing too, which doesn't happen anymore. You can't because everything's just standalone. So you don't get that bump that so many shows got that
Was Thursday
used to
night,
be.
Thursday
Yeah.
NBC. It was the Cheers slot. That was like the coveted slot. But what happened was it got to a point where shows were being pulled after the first season. So they weren't
Yeah.
really given a chance. And then I think when
True.
2020 happened and things weren't in production, and that was like the
Yeah.
birth of the streamers. So now you have all these like whatever you see air on CBS is gonna air on like Paramount Plus,
Yeah.
or FX.
True.
So it's like everything people are just watching streaming platforms. So
Yeah.
that's
I I think it would help the show a lot if it was on one of the streamers, but it's a really good show. I really do love it. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's Harpeth Road and Lindsay Gibson and her new book, Where It All Began. Still reeling from the shock of her ex-fiance leaving her at the altar, Willow Anderson flees to Martha's Vineyard after almost a decade away, forcing her to confront everything she's left behind. Her father suffered from a horrible fall off a horse at their family farm, and Willow has to return to the scene of a traumatic accident from her youth. Just as she begins to navigate taking care of her father's farm, her first love, Grayson Turner, walks back into her life, and he's got a secret that could change everything. I really enjoyed this book. I think if you like a good love triangle, it has a really good love triangle. It kind of reminded me a little bit of The Summer I Turned Pretty, like a little bit older version of The Summer I Turned Pretty, but a very spirited, passionate, dynamic. I think it'll make a great summertime read, so you should definitely check it out. And you can purchase it wherever you purchase your books or use the affiliate link below. Make sure to grab your copy today. That is Where It All Began by Lindsay Gibson. I know you'll love it. One on Masterpiece that I didn't like, that was disappointing, was actually Miss Austen. It just, the finale of the season airs today. And the problem is that Jane Austen's life actually wasn't that exciting. And so like whether it's that Anne Hathaway movie they did a while back about Jane Austen, like she kind of a boring life. I mean, she never was married. She didn't have any, like, I guess people try to maybe she had a love, but it was like she was just a writer, like, and wasn't that exciting. There was no real scandal. There's no real like, and so I think that's the problem here is that it's just, oh my gosh, this thing was dry. Like the performances were pretty good, but just I felt like nothing happened for 4 episodes.
oh, that's harsh.
Yeah. It's true though. Like just because she wrote great books doesn't mean her life was actually like I think she was awesome, but she just had like she was she just had a very simple life. Like I don't think she had that much excitement. Like
Not the story to be told. Not the story to be watching.
but so Miss Austen was a miss for me, and I'd heard such raves coming over sometimes the UK. They can really like hype things, and then we get them. It happens especially over on Broadway. They'll have all these things coming from the West End. And sometimes they translate well. Like I've heard Operation Mincemeat is very good. A lot of people liked this new Sunset Boulevard. Some people didn't. But a lot of things come over and we're like, what? Why did you all like that so much? So yeah,
Never know.
Miss Austen was a miss to me. But a couple other shows. So The Way Home season 3, I did think that everything wasn't perfect this season, but I definitely thought it was a step up from season 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
This one also is another one. I think there are some shows that just become sentimental favorites
Mm.
where it's like, I think the first couple seasons we were so involved in the plot. Uh,
Yeah.
and kind of making sure that everything was consistent and all these theories, like all these
Yeah.
working theories. And then I think somewhere along the way, it really has become about the characters, which is
But
great.
see, but it's going to be risky. I'm nervous about season 4 because if they really wrote off Thomas, like that's going to be a huge thing for the fandom. People are going to be upset. He's very popular. And they
Yeah,
had him go off to New York and whatever in the season. So I'm like, oh, that's risky.
I know. We'll
That's
see what
risky.
happens.
Ugh.
The title is The Way Home. So you would
Tomcat fan here.
no, you would think eventually people are gonna find their way home. Like that, it's in the title. It's like it's gotta be still, the story's not over.
Uh,
It's over.
yeah, I mean, I definitely still enjoyed it, but yeah, it was surprising how and I was just always kind of waiting for them to get back to either the 70s. That was everything in the 70s was pretty good, and then everything in the 1600s was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll
Or
see.
18, sorry. Everything in the 1800s was good.
I was like, wait,
1800s, sorry. It's morning. But yeah. I when they get to present time, maybe because I'm just not that invested in Cal Elliott, I in adult Elliot, but at least adult Elliot was better in this season because they at least gave him some agency in the story. He wasn't just being responded to. He could actually do something and make choices. So he was better because especially season 2, he was just kind of frustrating because his whole role on the show was just watching and complaining.
I know, but I felt like sometimes his choices were like, why?
Yeah, but I'd rather have that than no choices and him just like
Yeah,
being a crybaby for the entire season.
I guess.
So I think it was better, but I'm still. I mean, like I said, Tomcat. I'm Team Tomcat. I'll be upset if he's gone. I really will. I'll be upset. So it's a tricky thing. These time travel shows, Outlander and The Way Home, which you can tell that The Way Home is very influenced by Outlander, of course. So we'll
I
see.
Of all things, and as you're sitting here I have this idea for a time travel show, and Rachel, I'm like, I need to write it.
Yes, you
I
should.
need to run it by you before
Yes.
we'll find all the
We can I can co-write it. We'll do it
yeah.
together. That'll
Oh
be
my
perfect.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll discuss after.
Yes.
But I get it. I
We'll
get the
start a GoFundMe. Who wants to support her?
it's such a good idea to
Not GoFundMe, like Kickstarter.
a Kickstarter. Yeah, yeah. GoFundMe, please help us make a time travel show.
Well, what I think they should do for The Way Home is I think they should have the next time jump be in the 1930s because then they could just shoot it in Hope Valley. They've
Ooh,
already got the set. Perfect
ooh,
for
that's
Hallmark.
a bad idea. Look at
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
We could have our crossover event. I mean, they wouldn't have to go that far and have like Elizabeth in the in The Way Home, but they could shoot it there.
They
They already
could.
got the cars, they got the everything.
That would be fun for fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of When Calls the Heart, it was a pretty good season 12 this season because season 10 they made the bonkers choice of like swapping out her love interest out of nowhere. It was bizarre. But now they have Team Nathan They have Nathan, and they're actually like giving him some agency as a character, like because he was another one that was always just kind of like watching everything happening and not like doing something. I'm like, come on, go do, Um, and so I appreciate it. I feel like I'm finally getting some personality in the character. I feel like I'm finally getting something from him. He was so frustrating for so long, and so that's been fun. And it was neat to see the crop of kids that they started with are now basically grown up, and so to see some of them graduate this season was fun. They also had Melissa Gilbert on the show this year. That was fun to see her because obviously she was Laurie Ingalls, and to see her then be in a similar feel of show, similar style of show. So When Calls the Heart season 12, I would say overall was a success. They had a plot line with young Jack, little Jack, getting diabetes, and I thought that was very well done. And they actually, for once, did their homework because it's not a historically accurate show in general. But they did their homework because the insulin was first invented in Toronto, in Canada, and it's the whole story of that invention, that that thing is a total like miracle, incredible. And so it was fun to kind of, they did a nice arc with that, I thought. And so yeah, it was overall, I would a satisfying. I would give it, like, in the world of When Calls the Heart, I would probably give it like a 4 out of 5
Wow.
for this show.
Wow.
you know
I'm not caught up on it. I love the idea of
like
bringing,
3, and I mean, like 11 and 10, I would give like 2.53. So this is a step up
wow.
in the world of When Calls the Heart. Like if I'm rating against other television shows, it would be probably much lower because of the acting and some of the other things. But it's, for this show, this was a very good season, and I think the fans that aren't like hardcore Team Lucas fans, because those people are never going to be satisfied with anything that they do, and I don't blame them, because what they did in season 10 in switching out Lucas was completely insane, and I understand why they're upset. But just stop watching the show. Like at a certain point, like if you're not enjoying it, like just stop. Like don't become a troll. I don't understand that.
You can't, I listen, this is the same thing that happened with Supernatural. I remember writing
Yeah.
it. I used to write for Screen Rant, and I watched it, and, watched like every episode 3 times. And there was one article that I wrote that was like 18 times Supernatural should have been canceled. And it was just like all the times they jumped the shark. And the
Yeah.
amount of hate that I got. And I'm like, I love it. I still watch it. I'm not saying it
Yeah.
actually should be canceled. I'm not like cancel it, like keep it going, please.
Yeah. Like
Because
if
you
you're
can.
not enjoing it, just move
But
on. Watch something
also,
else.
yeah, I
Watch
mean,
Outlander and then let it disappoint you. But really, like if somebody likes When Calls the Heart, I cannot imagine a world where somebody likes When Calls the Heart and doesn't like All Creatures Great and Small. Like, so if you're looking for another show to watch, if you don't like When Calls the Heart, watch All Creatures Great and Small. I know you'll love it. So, but yeah, I know people are so weird that way. It's like when hating something becomes your personality, like it's just like not
yeah,
healthy. Like,
why? Uh,
like I completely think their annoyance was valid and I support it. And but like at a certain point, now we're on season 12. It's been 2 years. Like you need to move on with your life. So, there we go. A couple of other things that I I saw, I don't want to talk about. So Bridget Jones, Mad About the Boy, loved it. I thought it was so good. I thought the writing was really good. I thought the acting was really good. I thought it like took on some weighty themes for a rom-com, with her dealing with her grief and loss, and all the men were dishy and fun, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was super entertaining.
so this is one of those like for me. like kind of what you were just saying. If you're not happy about it, don't watch it. I had this thought going into it because I'm so married to like the
Mark Darcy.
original.
Yeah.
I had a very hard time with like it felt like grief to me. And I was
Yeah.
like, I don't want this in my life.
I get that. I get it. I do. I thought
And
they handled it very well, but I can see what you're saying.
I bet. But I was tied to it. I was tied to the character. I was
Mhm.
sentimentally tied to the character, and just the idea of it broke my heart. And I'm like, I'm sure it's done very well because that's what they've always done. Uh,
Yeah.
but ouch.
I hear it. I hear it. Another, this is a random one, but if you know me, you know why I'm talking about this. Barbie and Teresa Recipe for Friendship. This was actually a pretty good little Barbie movie. Probably it's one of the better ones that Netflix has done since they took over. And the only thing I kind of struggled with it is I'm like, well, kids like this movie like at all? I mean, you like it because they'll like it because it's Barbie and it has like fun colors and characters and stuff. But like the main conflict is all about how torn they are between these two friends. One wants her to be in the play, one wants her to help out with this restaurant, and like balancing her time and her loyalty to different friends. And like it was just themes that I'm like, do kids care about this? Like what job to do? And like I don't know, it was just oddly the Barbie movie was maybe a little too adult for I think some kids, but it was charming. I enjoyed it. It was like I said, one of the better entries since Netflix has taken over for Barbie. And let's see what else I want to talk about.
Interesting. Can I just say something on that point? Because that's so, I mean, I think they really took that leap with the Barbie movie because I haven't seen
Yeah.
that one. But also, this makes me think of, do you remember Gem, the
Oh,
TV show,
do
like
I remember Gem?
so I last year
Don't
my
watch the movie. The movie sucks.
I haven't watched the movie,
Yeah.
but I gotta tell you, so I think it was last year, my 8-year-old, when my niece was 8 or 7, I was like, these are the cartoons I used to watch when I was a
Yeah.
kid. And I went back and watched the pilot with her. My goodness, Rachel, the adult themes in that show, it's
Yeah.
like
That's true.
it's like they're dealing with an orphanage, and which is not even the right term anymore, but like an orphanage,
Right.
and like the bad people burn the corporations burn the
That's true.
orphanage down for the money, and like these kids are fighting for
That's true.
against
Well,
capitalism, and I'm like, what is going on?
well, it's not even that like it's inappropriate. The Barbie movie is not inappropriate. I just think that I wonder if kids will be a little bored by it because it's just like, how do I balance? How do I have work-life balance? And how do I handle my friends? Like just some like, are kids interested in this? Like the story? I don't know. Like not all. This is just this Barbie movie, but some of them, are about finding a prince and fairy tales and some of them have like incredible lore. Like it's crazy some of the work that went into. That's what I really admire about the series, the animated Barbie movies, because they could have just put them out, not cared. And some of those Netflix ones, you feel that, but they they really tried with the music, with the story, with the lore, with the characters, with what's able to happen in the magic, and just like you did not need to go that hard. Like that's impressive. Like I always find that like so impressive when people do more than's required. Like that's why part of the reason why I loved Puss in Boots: The Last Wish so much. It was a brilliant movie, but also it didn't need to be brilliant. They could have just put out, a Puss in Boots movie and nobody would have thought the loss of it. But they were like, nope, we're gonna make this amazing. And I think that makes it extra special,
I love that.
you know?
I love that. I support that
I
message.
I admire that when people do more.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies.
So I saw Jane Austen Wrecked My Life, and I really, this isn't a streaming, this is just an extra I wanted to talk about. I really thought I was going to love it. It looked funny. The trailer looked funny. I just didn't. I didn't think it was that funny. I didn't think it was that romantic. It was just kind of like, I don't know. It was just disappointing. Maybe my expectations were too high, but it fell flat for me.
So I have not seen this either. Tell me about this one.
So it's about this writer, and she takes this residency at the like Jane Austen. There's like a Jane Austen fellowship, and she takes it, and she meets the like great grand nephew or whatever of Jane Austen, and he's like all cynical. So all those things, that sounds like so fun. It just really wasn't. I just was kind of like, I didn't think it was that romantic. I didn't think it was that funny. I didn't think it was that insightful about Jane Austen. I don't know. I would say skip it. It was disappointing to me. Then the other thing that I can't say was disappointing because I really didn't have high expectations was Wes Anderson's latest, The Phoenician Scheme. Now, Wes Anderson to me is becoming almost self-parody at this point. Like, it's just ridiculous that, I mean, I thought Asteroid City was just a mess. Like, it had good moments in it and it did look nice, but it had so many ideas all happening at the same time, and like the movie within a movie, and then it's like commenting on the movie, and then it's also like a space story, but then like it's about these kids, but then the Tom Hanks, it was just a mess, I thought, of everything. And I just feel he's kind of like Lanthimos in this respect to me, that like they have their fans, and like both of them, I honestly feel like if they were like on screen just like waving a stick, this is it, this is all I have, and then people would be like, it's brilliant. Like, what? Like, I don't understand it. And this Phoenician Scheme was to me better than Asteroid City. It had more of a plot, more of a narrative, but I feel like his movies, Wes Anderson's movies, are so bloated with so many cast members and so many things that, and then he ends up giving them nothing or almost nothing to do, and they all look the same. So I can't even be that impressed with the visuals because it's just like, well, you did that in the last movie. Why should I be so impressed with it in this one? You did that in the last 15 movies you made. And so I'm just starting to feel self-indulgent. They feel frustrating. They feel really long, and they're just not charming me the way that I want to be charmed by Wes Anderson. It has been a long time, it's probably been since Isle of Dogs, since his last animated film, that I felt any kind of whimsy and charm by Wes Anderson. He's coasting, and I'm tired of it. And I just, come on, like, you're too talented to do this. Like, and I feel like people give him a major pass, and I'm very frustrated.
You know what it feels like to me? Everything that you're saying, I can also relate it to Woody Allen. Like
Yes.
that same kind of like, you look at Annie Hall and it's brilliant.
Yeah.
But as time went on, I mean,
That's true.
I
Like,
can't,
really, since Midnight in Paris, like, there really hasn't been anything
I
that
can't
has
even
been
watch
exciting.
a Woody Allen movie just because of everything that's like associated with it.
Yeah.
Very hard to go back to today. But when he was still, everybody like people were lining up to be in his film.
Yeah.
It was just like they were underused. It was the same characters over and over again. Everything
Yeah.
was
It's
basically,
true.
it was so self-indulgent. It was such a every character was really like another version of Woody Allen. Every
Yeah.
character was like another version of him or supposed to be a version of him.
I
And
guess what really irritates me is that I feel like we have these directors like Lanthimos and and Wes Anderson that we give like a complete pass to. And then we have these other directors that they could literally make the next masterpiece and it wouldn't even matter because people just decided they suck. And that annoys me. That frustrates me because I mean and sometimes they deserve, like Michael Bay after those Transformer movies, he deserved to be in the doghouse. But I still go into his movies being like, I want to like it. Like I go into it. I'm not hoping that it will suck, like I want it to be good. And sometimes I genuinely feel like especially if somebody is from like a conservative viewpoint, right? And they're sort of known for that. Yeah. And I mean, I guess like Clint Eastwood has gotten away with it because he had such a legacy before that. But others that if people know that, it's like they have a chip on their shoulder and they can't give a positive review because or a negative review, depending on the situation. And it's just like that bias bothers me. Like as a critic, you should at least try to go in with an open mind and try to see if that you like the movie or not like the movie. You shouldn't, like, even people like, I love Makoto Shinkai. He's to Your Name, one of my favorite movies, but I still can say like, oh, that last one wasn't as good. I didn't enjoy that as much. It wasn't like, I don't know. It just try to not be a fair critic. Like objectivism is a myth. I get that. We all have our biases. We all have but I feel like the attempt should be there. And these people that just have these pet directors that no matter what they do, they are going, they could be just Emma Stone with a stick and they're going to be like, wow, it's amazing. Like, come on, don't do it. It's irritating.
I mean, you'd like to think that nobody's rooting for anybody to fail. You'd like to think that. I'd like to think that. But at the opposite end of it is also like people, you should objectively be able to go in and look at a piece of art on its own and not be attached to the creator in such a way where it's like, what they're presenting to you is not what anyway, like, yes, I agree.
Yeah, it's frustrating. Anyway, so that's my rant on the Phoenician scheme. It has its moments, but it just didn't do much for me. It felt uninspired. Certainly wasn't funny. Okay, a couple others. So Not Just a Goof, absolutely loved Not Just a Goof, all about the Goofy movie, which I love a Goofy movie. And this was just so charming. And I loved they had all this amazing behind the scenes footage that Kevin Lima, the director, had taken that we never seen before. And it was just fun to like watch this documentary about this true underdog story. I mean, say underdog, it's Goofy, but like, it was just, I loved that. That was really, really good. That on Disney Plus. Not good on Disney Plus was Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Road Trip. And I liked the first Alexander movie. Really enjoy it. This one was really bad. Let's see what else. I liked on Netflix, La Dolce Villa and The Most Beautiful Girl in the World. We did a whole episode on Hallmarkies podcast on that. The Most Beautiful Girl in the World is Indonesian. It was the first time I'm watching an Indonesian rom-com. So that was fun to see another culture. And, I really enjoyed that. The Royal We on Hallmark is probably the best from this year. Very entertaining, very romantic, very well done. That one was good. I also really liked Return to Office. We talked about that on Hallmarkies podcast. That was fun. I liked Dogman more than most. This was DreamWorks, kind of came and went and got forgotten, but I thought it was pretty funny. I liked that. You're Cordially Invited. That was absolutely terrible. I hated it so much. The fact, I think I could have appreciated it as a kind of dark comedy. The fact that in the last act they decided to have them get together was completely ridiculous and unbelievable. No chemistry because they've been hating each other the entire, like, it just was completely unbelievable and absurd. And why anybody would want to be with either of these people is beyond me. They were absolutely terrible, horrible humans, like awful. And yeah, that was just not funny. Funny saves all. It was bad. It was really bad, I thought. And then the Another Simple Favor. So I remember like liking the original, like okay, but nothing special. I was like, why are they making a sequel of this? I have no idea. And it looked pretty, great fashion. Italy is beautiful. Um, the plot was just ridiculous. It was too much. It's one of those, see, I don't like mysteries where it feels like every single clue and hint along the way has to be explained.
Mhm.
And that's what it is with this, because it was so absurd. Everything like, oh, so we're going to have this long section of exposition to explain what is happening in the next reveal, in the next, oh, we got to talk about it because so
Have
I thought it was pretty not good.
Have you seen The Residence? Speaking of mysteries on Netflix.
No,
Okay.
that
If you
good?
don't like your mysteries explained,
Oh, don't.
because
I hated the
the
Glass Onion.
residence,
Glass Onion, I hated that.
the residence is really smart. The residence is like it kind of allows you to it allows the audience to kind of figure it out. It's not telling you what to think.
Oh, okay,
Really,
I'll check it out.
you really don't even know until the end, but that's one that I was like, and I enjoyed the cast and the creator very much. They're like the same creator that did Scandal, um, and the what was
Yeah. Is that
the
a multiple season show or just an
This is
anthology or
its first season. I don't know if
oh,
it's
okay.
officially been picked up for a second yet. I'm not quite sure, but it probably will be. Yeah.
A movie that I thought was a little bit underappreciated is The Unbreakable Boy. That I think people were upset with Zachary Levi for, things he believes and everything, and I understand that. But that has nothing to do with this movie. Like he's just like this movie is not a political movie at all. It's about this couple and like the ads I thought were a little deceiving because they made it seem like it was about the boy. It's called The Unbreakable Boy. It's really not. It's not like Wonder. It's really about the marriage and their journey as a couple and how having this son who they also make it seem like it's an autism movie, which it's really not.
Well, there
Just quit. Sorry.
it's like I lost you there for a
Yeah.
sec.
Anyway, so it's about this little boy and he has like a brittle bone disease. And so he constantly, anytime he falls, he's going to break a bone. Like that. It's really not about him, hardly at all, him having autism. So it's about, and it's just about the stress that this causes on their marriage. And I thought it was good. I liked it. I thought it was well acted and the little boy was really cute. And so I thought that thing, I guess I thought that got unfair criticism for stuff that has nothing to do with the movie. You know, like who Zachary Levi votes for doesn't have anything to do with this movie.
Yeah, it's hard to, I think, separate these days. I mean, like I kind of touched on it with Woody Allen. Obviously, he's got a different issues
Yeah.
that make it hard to watch. But yeah, it's
Woody Allen, it's especially hard to separate the art from the artist because he's kind of playing himself. He's like a character in most of his movies, So it's not like he's playing a radically different character than himself. And so it's like, well, this is a different character. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? I think that makes it harder.
yes, that's true. It is, and his style, even when he's not in front of the
Yeah.
camera, characters that are represented are supposed to be representative of him. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's it's hard. It's hard why some people get a pass and others don't, or
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
jump on the bandwagon of
But
like, hey, time to cancel this person.
yeah. And so I think Unbreakable Boy was actually quite good. And let's see if there's anything else. So there was a new Signed Sealed Delivered movie, Signed Sealed Delivered to the Moon and Back. And the last Signed Sealed Delivered movie was definitely my least favorite. It still had some good things in it, but it was weak. And so we're coming up to this one. I was pretty excited. And then there was this incident that now the charges have all been dropped with Eric Mabius. And Hallmark, they didn't market this thing literally at all. There was not a single preview, a single promo, not a poster, not a website, nothing, nothing. And I thought that that was pretty shameful of them. Like for somebody that has done so much for their brand and worked so hard for them, and it's an ensemble show with multiple characters and a huge fan base, to not market it at all is like, just don't even release it if you're going to treat it that way. Like that was so frustrating. And then the charges get dropped, so it airs and it doesn't do that well because it hasn't had any promotion. I mean, it did well for not having any promotion literally at all, but still pretty low. And then as soon as the charges are dropped, all of a sudden there's a promo, there's a preview on the web, on the YouTube channel and on the website. There's poster, there's promotion. I'm like, yeah, that would have been helpful a month ago. If you had actually like just literally all they would have had to say is be like, we understand this is happening. We support, the investigation and everything. And we've enjoyed working with Eric over the years. Boom, done. That's all you would have had to said. So like frustrating.
Ugh.
Like, I don't know. I just felt like you should have, I'm talking the bare minimum, have a poster for your movie.
It's dangerous territory. Like we see things all the time where people come out and
I mean, even if it had gone to trial, if it had gone, it was at most a misdemeanor offense. It was a little fight at a bar. It's not even like similar to, like, I could understand when the whole Ezra Miller thing happened. He literally they literally pushed a woman down to the ground on tape, right? That is something. This was just a nothing. Like, if it had gone to trial, I guarantee you it would just be community service, a slap on the wrist, nothing. And so it's not like it was even a felony. It was just, it's, come on. Ugh. And like, I feel like if you're just gonna dump it, then don't air it at all. Just put it on Hallmark Plus, or just
yeah.
wait to see how this plays out, because I'll never get over them not having a poster. That was insane. I mean, who does that? Who releases a movie with no poster?
So
Only Hallmark. Only Hallmark.
wrote it yet. That's what that is.
But anyway, they did air it, and it was actually a pretty good one. It was definitely better than the last one.
Good. That's
Yeah.
good.
So, I think I covered everything that I had on my list. Did you have anything else you want to talk about?
I would just say, look, if there's one breakout show of this season, I'm calling it right now. It's going to be The Pit. Uh,
Mm.
I absolutely think even the people that I talk to who are on hit shows, and I'm like, what are you watching? And they're all like The Pit. It's already been renewed for a second season. People really love it. I think it could potentially win a lot of awards this season.
Yeah.
I've
I feel
I
like The Pit and The Studio are the two shows I'm hearing the most buzz about.
I'm gonna take an unpopular opinion here with the studio.
Uh, yes.
I'm not entirely sold on it yet. I know
Uh-huh.
loves it. I know everybody loves it, and rightfully so, and it has its good moments, and people who are in the industry certainly understand it. I felt very strongly there was a show on a few years ago called Reboot, and it
Oh.
was about the inner workings of studios, and it was a phenomenal show, and it was canceled after I think just one season, maybe.
Oh, that was with Keegan Michael Key, right?
It was
Okay. Yeah, I
so
remember that. Yeah.
Oh, I think it was really because of the strike. I think it was one of those that fell victim to the strike.
Yeah.
Ironically, with this show about studios. And I love Seth Rogen and his partner and Adam Goldstein.
Oh, yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, it's good. Watch it. You'll like it.
No, you can say let your opinion fly. It's good to have
Uh, I mean,
yeah.
it's one of those that's like, I
After
think
me ranting and raving about Wes Anderson, you can
it's getting a lot of love,
yes.
I will not deny it that it is good, and again, like, yes, if you're in the industry, it is very relatable.
Funny.
Yeah, I think you know what you're getting. It's Seth Rogen, so it's
Yeah.
like, if you if that's your thing, like, yeah. And I love him. I'm not saying it's not my thing. I absolutely love Seth Rogen. But yeah, out of all the shows that are out right now that people are like cheering about,
Not
um
as excited. Yeah, yeah.
I did other ones, but we'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see.
Well, let
Fine.
us know what you think, what you're watching, what you've enjoyed on streaming or on television. We'd love to hear your thoughts, what you think about all the different things that we talked about. And sorry, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram under the Savvy Scribbler or TikTok. I've got some fun behind the scenes stuff, and I'm at Sari Tales.
Yeah. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. And also, you can check out our playlist with all our Female Film Critics panels episodes. And also, check out the Hallmarkies podcast for coverage of so many of the shows. Way Home, uh, so many of these shows. Way Home, When Calls the Heart, the All Creatures Great and Small, Miss Austen, all of these, many of these shows we have coverage on. And we're going to have coverage of and just like that coming up soon. So you definitely want to be on board for that. And check out our Patreon group. That's the biggest way you can support everything that we're doing. And you get to be part of our watch alongs and Q&As and other cool events. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. Really appreciate that. And if you are watching on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Appreciate that so much. And we have the merch store. We have tons of fun movie inspired merch, Hallmark inspired as well. Check that out. And thanks so much, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Bye.